a skateboarder means. What is a skateboarder?
Is that better? Yeah. And thanks for that. Being a skateboarder, I think it starts with a sense of community, something that we seek. I think all of us as skaters feel a little bit like outsiders. I certainly did, and a lot of my friends feel that way too. And so in an effort to both be an outsider, to not really that inner sense of not belonging, yet with a deep yearning for belonging, which I think all human beings have, how can you do that? How can you find a sense of community? And it is in this sort of multi-dimensional platform that we have with skateboarding that we can create on our own terms with never-ending, and I think it's safe to say never-ending possibilities. And even atop the possibilities, each one has a style through which we can define ourselves through what we do and a voice that we have that is specific to us. The more we individuate ourselves and separate ourselves, the more we get a sense of belonging, because that's what the community itself seeks, is to be separate and yet belong. So the more we individuate ourselves through what we do, the more we are embraced by the community around us, and we leverage what the community gives us. That is the tricks, that is the ethos imbued through the arts. And when we give that back, we are recognized by our peers, and that only brings it up higher. And all of us together create that synergy that really is skateboarding. It's the same basic kind of thing with me. You know, people ask me, well, what are your inspirations? Who inspires you? And to some degree you think, okay, there's Einstein and there's these great guys in the clouds, but it's not like that. It's the guy down the street. It's the guy that you touch. That's what did it for me. Skateboarding was the same. What made me want to be a skater? Not the greatest guy. It was the guy down the street. He was just so fluid. And I remember him skating. And I remember watching him slam one day. There was nothing more to it. There was no coach. There was no one there to run and help him. He just picked himself up and he kept going. And I thought, man, this is awesome. You know, this is who I am. All this transcendental movement, Emerson, Thoreau, man, the first being that nonconformist, right? And I love this idea of self-reliance. And the more I got to know about the community, the more I got the sense of this is who I am. And it's through the music, and it was through the graphic stuff that you were seeing, t-shirts, same sort of thing. That's when I got this draw of, I want to be that. And I think the thing that stuck with me longest is, from my immediate yearnings to do so, by the time I articulated it to my dad, who was a dentist, he said, no, you're going to kill yourself, knock your teeth out, all the above. And he wouldn't let me. And my dad, you don't mess with that. He only says no once and next, you know, watch it. And so I'm like, man, that was my opportunity. So I just coveted this idea and had one more opportunity to ask him on New Year's Eve. When he'd had, you know, just a drink, I love my family type of thing. And he said yes. And weirdly, before I even really got a chance to skate, I remember going upstairs and looking out thinking, I have something that I can make that's going to be mine. And it went from there, and I think that part of me that skateboarding has always been in jeopardy of being taken away, that made me hold on to it that much more. And I think that's part of our ethos too, again, being on the outside. I love just seeing that park today. This park rules in the way the community embraces it. But, you know, there's also the flip side to that. Regarding observation and innovation, when we watch stuff from each other, some part of it is, okay, that's how he does it. But again and again we see this, that what we share is demonstrative of the extent that it takes belief to make innovation happen. So said another way, we as skaters we get footage. We put it out, 411, YouTube, whatever it was at the time, and as people see it, and mind you, these are the culmination of 20-year careers of guys redlining whatever attributes they have, all their experience. I got this trick. You put it out there, and within weeks or a month, somebody will send you a link of some random kid in, you know, Ukraine or Madagascar doing your trick. And you think, you look at him skate, and you're like, that cost me, I know what that cost me, and this rotten kid is doing it just as well. And the thing is, we know skating, you're thinking, I know he doesn't have the infrastructure that I have, he doesn't have all those years, but he did it. And so where I'm going with is, and I know what that's like, you see it in droves. Some major guy will do some crazy trick, and then people like Lemming will be doing it. And it goes to show that it's not so much they're learning. I understand that argument can be made, but it's not that, trust me. It's that you showed that it could be done. And that's what unlocks something. And so I guess with all my years of skating and the things that I wish I could share is that lots of people have good ideas. I mean, good ideas. It's just believe you can do it. Like, believe. And the next thing you know, that's what's happening. That's the biggest ceiling we have, is this self-imposed disbelief.
Absolutely. I think that,
I think, I don't know if you've heard this expression. First time I heard it, I remember just being still for a second. Never smile at a wild animal because it thinks you're showing it your teeth, you know? And it's such a backwards notion. Wait, I'm smiling, I'm going to get attacked. And we are so wired where we recognize, little kids recognize the simplest gestures, facial recognition. They're so subtle, and yet we immediately process it. I know what you're thinking, because we're wired that way. Likewise with skateboarding, is such an art in the sense that the way we do it, you can always kind of lock in on somebody's character of what they're like. You know people through their skating, and it's such an indelible kind of fingerprint that another thing, yeah, most anything can be faked. And one of the things I love most about skateboarding in the community is it's raw. I mean raw sense of authenticity, of look, you will be accepted if you're skating with this sense of authenticity. It may not necessarily be the best style. I don't have the good style at all. I never have. But at least it was authentic. You got this sense of resonance. When you're watching someone, you're like, yeah, that's that guy. You meet him, you know. And so likewise, how is skateboarding? Is it more of a sport or is it an art? I've always looked at the athletic part as that's the fun part, that's the barrier. But we have never, and you can see it, and the guys who place best in contests, there are exceptions. There are plenty of exceptions. But the guys that get most respect and credibility tend to be the one that have not necessarily the perfect textbook switch heels or whatever, perfectly done. It is a way that is unmistakably them, who they are. You see them, how they are, and how they skate. Those are the guys you think, that's the guy I want to be, or I connect with him. So skateboarding has always been an art form. What we do, how we do it, it wells up from that. And likewise, even the more technical of my tricks, they have to do with, look, first you're carting a horse. You're skating the way you feel. You're skating with whatever's going on in your life, you skate that way. You skate harder, or depends what you're working on. But you will inevitably create something that's representative of that. And I can think about that in my own life. Tricks I was doing, what was going on with me at the time. So in this way, skateboarding is more of an art than anything, really. The athletic part is just a hurdle. Raw accident happens for sure. That's the kickflip. People are like, hey, you made it the kickflip. And I just kind of, yeah, he was an accident. And it really was. It was just a bad ollie. And I spazzed out and kicked it away. It was an act of cowardice. And the board flipped and just landed. So that's a kickflip. So yeah, those things happen. Of course, I was like, I'm going to do that. And I did it. But there are accidents. a lot of what we do too is tumbling. I think one of the reasons, I guess, if anything, I'm known is making up stuff. And one of the things I love to do, skateboarding is akin, if you look at a trick like words, and the pieces are very much like syllables. There's generally three. Think of a kickflip, think of a heel flip, shove, right? Snap, the heel flip, shove, the flick, the catch, the break. They're syllables. And so if you break them apart, they're very physical things with their own little momentum sets. And you break them apart, toss them around in, I don't know, ways that are just new, different, awkward. Sometimes something fun to do, and this is the way it worked with dark slides, this is the way it worked with primo slides, this is the way it worked with all the impossibles, is you start from an awkward middle point, and you think, how can I work backwards and connect these disparate ends of a beginning and an ending? And you just kick around these pieces, and you see what comes together. And so anyway, where I'm going is that's where innovation comes in. It's just tinkering and having fun and breaking pieces apart and seeing what you can put together. It's just fun.